the most powerful manifestation ritual I have ever come up with. I'm going to tell this in the way that I used it to call in my person. I got to release some pain, I got to release some grief, and I got to release some heartbreak. Now, the big secret to a grieving ritual is you're not going in being like, get rid of the tears, get rid of the heartache. What you're doing is you're feeling the unfelt things. You're going to grieve first, and then you're going to sex magic after. It's called magic, but it's not just magic. It's actually working with some of the most potent forces of the universe. Hi, and welcome to This Tantric Life. I'm your host, Layla Martin. This is a special solo cast edition where I'm going to share with you my most powerful ritual for manifesting that I have ever created. It is a minimum 7-day process, and it combines a grieving ritual with a shortened sex magic process to be able to empty out your nervous system of anything that's holding you back and then fill it up with everything that you want through the power of sex magic. So I'm going to walk you through this process in this solo cast so that you can use it to create what you desire. I used it to call in my partnership, but you can use it for anything that you want. And I've gone ahead and included some potential music and a step-by-step guide anywhere that you can find links for this podcast. So it'll be in the show notes or it'll be around the podcast, depending on what platform you are watching this on. So enjoy the solo cast. And I hope that you are able to use this to create exactly what you desire. This came about before I was going to Burning Man in 2022. And I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready for my husband. I'm ready for my long-term partner. Like I have gone through my separation. I have dated. I have been ghosted. I have had some very sexy experiences. I have had a few short-term relationships to really feel into what I want, who I've become, what I'm ready for. And I'm fucking ready. I'm ready for him. And I wanted to create a manifestation experience that would be like supercharged, like just like extra, like just you to throw in the kitchen sink on the manifestation. And I was like, what is the most powerful way that I could call my person in? So I'm going to tell this in the way that I used it to call in my person, but you can use this to create anything. You can use this to make your current relationship better. You can use this to call in a career opportunity. You can use it for health. I was using it for health recently, this exact process. And honestly, I turned a corner from using this exact process. It's amazing what it can do. So I'm going to tell the story through the lens of calling him a man, but I want you to also imagine how you can use it for literally anything that you want. So when I was ready to really call my person, I was like, all right, my nervous system is full of things that I don't want, right? So whenever you want something and you have a hard time calling it in, you're usually filled with something else: sadness, pain, rage, self-loathing, disgust, whatever it is. In my case, I knew that it was grief. Now, the important thing to consider is that grief is almost always part of creating a new timeline. Why? Because I found that when we create a new timeline, there is, for most of us, I'd say like 90% of us, a part of us that has to grieve that we didn't have that thing already. Like if I can suddenly have the relationship of my dreams, then there's a part of me that has to grieve that I didn't create it already. Or if I'm going to create health and I haven't had health for a long time, I'm going to grieve the part that was sick, what was lost in being sick. So not everybody has this, but enough people have a grieving process that it usually takes them by surprise, and they don't give themselves the space to properly grieve so that they can actually be on the new timeline. So this manifestation ritual has space for a grieving ritual. And that grief allows you to grieve what you didn't have in the past, or wherever you fucked up, or wherever you didn't get what you didn't want, or wherever you made mistakes, or to release anything else in the way. So I'm calling it a grief ritual, but think of it as an emptying out ritual. Now, your nervous system gets filled up with things. So it's like if you think of your nervous system as this beautiful vessel, like let's think of it as an antique cup, right? With like jewels on it. And it's your favorite metal, gold or rose gold or silver, right? I'm a gold girl. So your nervous system, this beautiful cup, gets filled up oftentimes with lower frequency vibrations that don't get all the way processed. So when you're like, I want to fill this cup with the most beautiful love or the most beautiful sex or a new career or health, right? And your cup is already filled with your tears and your frustration and your past experiences and your grief, right? You can pour the most beautiful liquid in there. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to turn into like a clusterfuck. It's not going to turn into this beautiful liquid because you're not starting with an empty cup. So any good manifestation, you got to empty the cup first and then you fill it. So in this, what makes the manifestation supercharged is that you're giving yourself the time to grieve. All right, we're going to pause for just a moment and I'm going to invite you to join my email list. You might be like, email, but honestly, email is where I share my deepest teachings, my most personal stories, and my most outrageously good content. It's also where you can stay connected to all of the podcasts that I release and my programs where you can train more deeply with me. So if you want to join, head over to laylamartin.com and sign up with your best email address. So for me, I grieved actually every afternoon or evening to empty out. And then I did sex magic in the morning. Now you can do your own timing of this. You could grieve in the morning and then do sex magic right after. There doesn't have to be separation. Or you can do what I did, which is like, I kind of like grieved and released through the night and then sex magicked in the morning with like the new fresh energy. So it's up to you. It doesn't have to be split in time, but it's nice if it is. And the idea is you're going to grieve first and then you're going to sex magic after. I think the most powerful number, a minimum number of times to do this is 7 times. That's how many times I did it to call in my person, but you could also do 21. Now, the point of doing this a lot is that to create a new timeline, you have to actually shift your nervous system. So sex magic is the most powerful practice I know for shifting your entire nervous system. But it's not like if you've got some karmic interference, right? If you believe that love is unsafe or you've gotten stuck in some kind of cycle of, chasing red flags or attracting the wrong kind of person, or you and your partner have been in a sexless situation for a while and there's like a buildup of fear and sadness in your nervous system or an underlying fear of intimacy, right? Or you want to be healthy, but your nervous system has like gotten in this frequency of illness. It takes time for your nervous system to settle into a higher frequency reality. So the more times that you do this, the more powerful it will be. And that's really what I see is usually the most limiting thing. People are like, oh, I did sex magic once to like get a new career. I did sex magic once to call in my new partner. Or maybe I did it like 4 times over a month. You're like, if you want to overturn deeply entrenched patterns inside of your nervous system, you got to work it harder than that. It's like being like, oh yeah, I worked out 4 times this month. Why don't I look better? So we really have to do the sex magic, like really do it and do it every day if you can. Okay. So what I did was I was like, I got to release some stuff and I got to release some pain. I got to release some grief and I got to release some heartbreak, both from my previous long-term partnership, almost a decade, from some shitty recent dating experiences that I've had that I wished had gone differently, and just a general sense of grief and heartache for me that I could feel that having what I affectionately call daddy issues, but what is really deeply painful of having an abusive biological father, like really accepting how much work I have done, how much I cared, how much I wanted to have amazing partnerships with men, how much I wanted to find my person, and how much I hadn't gotten exactly what I wanted. And I knew on some level that was related to being abused by my father. And I needed to cry some more about that. I needed to like have some time to reckon with that. So the grieving ritual needs to be a minimum of 10 minutes, but it could go up to an hour. So I would pick some sad ass music and set a timer and literally put the intention of, I want to find my person. Show me anything in my body, in my energy system, in my soul that is in the way. And I will feel it and I will digest it. So in your grieving ritual, you want to do the same thing, right? I want me and my partner to fall back in love. Show me anything that's in the way. I want to be healthy. Show me anything that's in the way. I want to make this amount of money. Show me anything that's in the way. Because our blockages to what we really want live in our nervous system. They live in our energy body. They live inside of us, sometimes in our mind, right? So when you make that prayer at the start of your grieving ritual, you make yourself available. It's like your system is intelligent, it's listening. It will show you what's in the way. So I would do that. I would set my alarm. I think, sometimes I did an hour of grieving. Sometimes I did 10 or 15 minutes. And I would just take some deep, full inhales. I would feel wherever there was sadness and I would let myself cry. I would feel wherever there was heaviness in my heart and I would let myself exhale and move it. Now, the big secret to a grieving ritual is you're not going in being like, get rid of the tears, get rid of the heartache. What you're doing is you're feeling the unfelt things. And when you do this with an attitude of love and presence, those unfelt things will do what is called in the tantric tradition, they will digest. So just like if you eat a meal, if the meal is amazing and organic and healthy, you will get amazing energy. But even if you eat like fried chicken and French fries and like a whole bunch of stuff that's unhealthy for you, you've still got to digest it, right? You've got to turn it into the fuel that is available to you and you got to move it through your system. So when we have beautiful experiences, we need to digest the beautiful experiences and get and receive energy from them. And when we have negative experiences, we need to digest those as well. The big key to digesting a negative or heavy experience is to be present with your own experience, to love your experience, and to open into the feeling of it. This creates the environment, if you will, where your whole system can digest the negative experience. And I'm going to drink my sex magic. So this is the drink sex magic to go along with the really exquisite practice that you have. And this comes from Mood. You can head on over to shopmood.com and get some of your own sex magic. Is this incredible elixir of all activated plants and nootropics, and it tastes delicious. And it is like all natural good things. It tastes incredible, but it's sweetened with monk fruit. So good. Let's recap. So, okay, grieving ritual, you're going to set your alarm anytime from 10 minutes to an hour. You're going to pick some sad ass music that you can cry to or scream to or anything like that. And I think I will include a sad ass music playlist in the show notes, in the links, wherever you can find. If you're like, what is sad ass music? I'll share with you some of mine. And I hit play on the playlist and I start the timer and I say, I want to experience this thing. Please show me what's in the way. And then I open myself into that healing. So I'm going to be present with myself. I'm going to be willing to feel. I'm going to love whatever arises and I'm going to breathe. So don't do intensive breath work if you're pregnant, if you have any kind of medical issue. But you don't have to go really hard with the breath. You can just breathe, inhale fully, exhale fully, let yourself feel. You'd be surprised how much just that simple approach will allow you to digest through experiences. So that's the grieving ritual. Let's take a little pause from the podcast, and I'm going to tell you about my signature 1-year program. This is the VITA Sex, Love, and Relationship Coaching Certification, and it is for you if you have dreamed of giving your gifts as a sex, love, and/or relationship coach with a holistic and spiritual lens. This program starts as a personal deep dive, allowing you to transform your own experience of sex, love, and relating. It then trains you in a profound methodology that allows you to become a confident and masterful coach, and it trains you in business skills so that you can effectively sell your coaching packages to high-end clients in a way that feels heart-centered and filled with soul. If you want to have a lifestyle that you are super excited about, create your own work hours, and have a meaningful impact in the world, go to laylamartin.com/VITA coaching. That's VITA, laylamartin.com/VITA coaching. The next piece is the sex magic. So you can either just sex magic the same thing, the same dream every single day. Or what I did was I did 7 days of grieving, 7 days of sex magic, and I took a different quality that I wanted in my partnership for each of the days. Now, for those of you who are new to sex magic, you are going to decide exactly what it is that you want, and then you're going to put yourself into a 5 senses reality. This makes it super real to your nervous system. 5 senses reality is I have this thing that I want, right? So when I was manifesting my partnership, I wanted us to have a tantric sexual practice, right? That was one of my manifestations. So I closed my eyes and I saw what was happening. We were surrounded by candles. We were making love in Yab Yum. There was exquisite decor everywhere, like a really soft faux fur blanket, and it was like luscious. And we were in a bedroom, right? You see exactly what's happening. Then you hear sounds, right? So I could hear sexy music playing. I could hear the sounds of our pleasure. I could hear him whispering into my ear, I love you. I love our sacred sexuality, right? What do you touch? So I was holding him, right? His gorgeous arms. I could feel his body. That's what I was touching. I could feel my own like skin and hair as I was holding him, being held by him, stroking myself, right? The more that you make this sensorial, the more it touches your nervous system and the more safe it feels to your entire being to have it. And safety is the big key for opening the field for our nervous system to have what we want. So then what did I smell? I could smell him. I could smell his sweat. Oh, I could smell myself. I could smell the perfume I was wearing. I could smell the incense in the room, right? And when you taste, well, I could taste his lips, right? And his tongue. It was so good. So you do all 5 senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you touch? What do you taste? And what do you smell? Because that's what makes it come alive inside of you. It's not just like, oh, I want this partnership. It's like, no, this very specific experience, right? The very specific experience of having the money, the very specific experience of being healthy, the very specific experience of having the best sex ever with your partner. So I did a different quality every day, right? I wanted emotional safety. I wanted a playmate. I wanted to be fully chosen. I wanted to be deeply desired. I wanted us to be magically in love. And I actually can't remember the 7th thing now, but that was, you get the idea. And so I did the 5 senses reality for each specific desire of the partnership. And I would do the sex magic. Now, I like quicker sex magic. If you got all the time in the world, by all means, do a half-hour sex magic, do an hour-long sex magic. Every once in a while, like for the full moon or for an astrological event, I will do like a half an hour to a full hour sex magic, right? We got the candles going, we got the bubble bath, or we got the sexy bed situation set up, right? But I live in the real world just like you. Sometimes I got 10 minutes to get in and out, and you can do a sex magic in 10 minutes if you want to. Here's how it works, right? Close your eyes, 5 senses reality. North Star prayer. North Star prayer means I only want this to manifest in the highest good of all beings. This is my prayer before every sex magic, right? Because I don't want to do black magic. I don't want to override stuff. And I'm humble. I don't always know what the highest good is, but I want the highest good. And if it's not in the highest good, I don't want it. So that's always my North Star prayer. I highly recommend it. May this only manifest in the highest good of all beings, right? Then 3 minutes. So you can actually set a timer. Insight Timer app, I recommend it highly. Everyone's doing these like gentle, peaceful meditations. I use it for that too. But I also love that now there's going to be a whole bunch of us sex witches out there masturbating to the meditation app, which is great because to me, it's a different kind of meditation. It's just a pleasurable one. So you can set a timer and you can do, let's say 3 minutes if you're doing the super fast version, where it's silence for 3 minutes and then a bell. And this is where I turn myself on, right? I'm stroking my body. I'm giving myself pleasure. I'm activating myself. And then there is a bell for one bell for each chakra, right? 7 chakras. So first bell goes, and then I am circling my pleasurable energy through my root chakra. Second bell, I'm starting second chakra. Third bell, third chakra. Fourth bell, fourth chakra. Fifth bell, fifth chakra. Sixth bell, sixth chakra. Seventh bell, you go all the way to the crown, right? This activates every single part of your body. And so as you're stroking yourself and touching yourself, the energy is cycling through that, what's called a chakra band. It's like the actual band of your body associated with that chakra. You get to the crown, right? The end, that final bell, you're going to go into liftoff. That means maximum pleasure or orgasm. The moment you go into peak pleasure or orgasm, you're going to put yourself into the 5 senses reality. This seals your manifestation with the highest state of pleasure available to you in that moment. And then you rest and relax, right? So that's usually about 12 or 13 minutes. If you take a bit longer to get into peak pleasure, a bit longer to orgasm, it could be up to 15 minutes. I do a quick little relaxation and then bang, I'm done. That's the kind of sex magic that I can do every single day. You can always do it longer, but I find that's about the shortest that you can clock in and still really do the energy, really do the manifestation and not feel so rushed, but at the same time have an effective practice. It's about 15 minutes. So about 10 minutes for the bells and then 5 minutes of the peak pleasure and orgasm, and then the rest and relaxation afterwards. So I've included a PDF guide in the show notes, anywhere you can find links around where this podcast is. We have different platforms that we share it on. If you want the guide to this super powerful manifestation. So again, I used this to call on my partner. I did it for the 7 days before Burning Man, right up until the day that I left for Burning Man. And then I met my partner 5 days later, and it was everything that I had asked for in my manifestation. So I really, really believe in the power of this. I know it in my bones. And it's called magic, but it's not just magic. It's actually working with some of the most potent forces of the universe. It's working with your erotic power. It's working with your ability to visualize what it is that you want. It's creating a sense of safety in your nervous system. And when you do it this way with the grieving ritual combined with the sex magic, it's allowing you to potently digest and release material from your nervous system that's lower vibration or heavy and replace it with the higher vibration frequencies of pleasure and safety and attuning that released energy to what it is that you're creating and what it is that you really want. This makes your nervous system available for what you want. And also it will seek it in your environment when it feels that it's safe and pleasurable to have it. So enjoy. I would love if you would share with me whenever you manifest and get what it is that you are creating with this ritual. Please send me an email. Go to my website, laylamartin.com, or if you're already signed up on my email list, then go ahead and just hit reply to any email. I would love to hear your stories of success. That would be so incredibly, incredibly magical to hear. And enjoy. It's so powerful to know how deeply you are capable of creating the life that you want and having what you want when you work with the intelligence of your body, with the forces of the universe, and with an understanding of what it takes for your nervous system to seek what it is that you really want in this reality. Mwah. Thank you for listening to This Tantric Life. I am Layla Martin. This is the home for the realest conversations about sex, spirituality, polarity, conscious relationships, and all kinds of topics that help us live the absolute most incredible lives. Please check out the next episode. Please go ahead and leave your rating and review on Spotify or Apple or YouTube. It's so helpful when you do that. If you want to stay connected to me, the most helpful supportive thing you can do is to head over to laylamartin.com, sign up with your email address. That connects you to me if you want to study deeper with me, if you want to receive my deeper teachings. I do it predominantly via email. Finally, you can check me out on Instagram at @the Layla Martin. And thank you so much for being here.